Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey everyone, Militiaman here. Wanted to say thank you so very much for joining us today. Before we get started on some very awesome news, I'd like to just remind everybody that we have a Patreon community with Militiaman and Crew that's full of wonderful content on the Iraqi dinar. The amazing Samson brings us a lot of information, and much of it has analytical analysis done to it. In addition to that, we have a vibrant 24/7 Discord chat room that is filled with people that can talk dinar and related topics whenever they like. All of this is for $10 a month, so check us out. The value the patrons bring us is truly amazing, so stop in our Militiaman and Crew store for a memento and a keepsake as we get closer to our goal line, as a reminder of all we've been through over the years. Again, so just a reminder, it's only $10 a month, and the link is in the caption. Hey, so now that we're getting started, today we had some really awesome news. One of the things that is out there, that the finance minister, the Central Bank of Iraq, they're in Washington and they're having meetings, technical meetings. It looks like they arrived sometime today, and they're going to be doing these technical meetings with the IMF, the World Bank. So the finance minister, Taif Sami, and the governor of the central bank, Ali Alak, are there, and the delegation has been ongoing, and it is, probably very, very productive. One of their topics that they're going to be talking about is the stability of the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar. So the fact that these delegations have been meeting with the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank in Washington today, is very telling signs that we're in a very, very good place. Obviously, if they're talking about the exchange rate stability of the Iraqi dinar, we're probably pretty sure that we're not talking about the official rate of 1310, because to be honest with you, they didn't do it at 1166, 1182, or 1190, 1460. So why in the world would they be having meetings at this level, at this time, for an exchange rate to be stabilized at 1310? It doesn't make any sense. We have the government's budget, the federal draft law, is expected to be for 2023, 2024, 2025, and that is on the table as we speak. It sounds like they've talked it to be an advisory situation at the moment, probably with the final paragraph to be read sometime in the coming days. We don't know what day, but we believe that that's going to be the case, that there'll be some sort of a change. This meeting that we are seeing today, I wasn't expecting it. I didn't really see much on it, specifically that these big players were going to be in Washington and talking about this. It says basically Iraq's approach to holding a non-financial program was discussed, and which it includes providing technical and advisory support for the economic reform adopted by Iraq, the government, and achieving financial and monetary stability. And so today he pointed out that it was agreed to prepare a draft agreement on the program and start implementing all of this in the coming days. So that sounds pretty imminent if they were in the meetings today. And they're talking about they're going to have working on stability in the monetary policies is really pretty big. So it goes on. Alak says that he's provides support from the central bank, and he's talking about the procedures to achieve stability in the exchange rate and in accordance with international practices. So international with the International Monetary Fund is big, because what is the International Monetary Fund? They're about currencies around the world. They have their own SDR basket, and they make policy when it comes to exchange rates and to keep this stable. The idea here is that the World Bank, the IMF, the U.S. Treasury, the U.S. Federal Reserve are all backing and support of Iraq having a stable exchange rate. Going into the future, having a 3-year budget, it's about pricing. It's about stable pricing for construction materials, for instance. Those types of things are all going to be try to be as stable as possible, because when they go to a private sector, all those investors are going to need to have stability. and pricing is stability. And so a good, strong international Article 8 compliant currency, which is expected to be on the Forex, is necessary. So hopefully this is going to lead us into that in the near future. On a sidebar meeting, the central bank governor, he met with the deputy assistant to the Secretary of the Treasury, Brian Nelson. Basically, they're talking achieving stability, the exchange rate, facilitating procedures for the process for financial transfers. They went over and they quote the governor of the central bank, Ali Mohsen Alak, met today with the Secretary of Treasury, Brian Nelson, on the sidelines. And meetings were and about the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. So, but the two parties, when they get together at this level, obviously they have some plans for Iraq. And if you looked at the pictures from in the public eye between Brian Nelson and the central bank governor, both those guys are grinning like Cheshire cats. It's pretty big. So anything else on that? Facilitating steps in a short period. Basically, Alak, is my understanding, when he came to town, which was sometime about 90 days ago, his time's getting short, and he said he'd do what he needed to do within 90 days. So that's coming up. I believe that could be as early as the next few days. So we'll have to see how that goes. Then another key item today was the Iraqi Trade Bank decides to adopt the dinar only in its electronic financial transactions. I would have to say that that's pretty big, because one of the key components that is a requirement of the IMF is to cease multi-currency practices. And here you have a state bank, the Iraqi Trade Bank, decides to adopt the dinar. Therefore, it's starting to look like they're getting ready to only use the dinar, and that bodes well for us. It says it was decided to cancel the dollar currency from ATMs and also to adopt the national currency in all domestic and financial services. Well, a national currency is exactly that. It's a national, international currency. So hopefully that's what we're expecting to see, that these guys will follow through with this sometime here in the short term to have that national currency traded globally around the world. And by all means, it seems like this is getting to that stage where the citizens, all they are talking about is the citizens get what they deserve. We know that they have an agreement with the oil and gas in the Kurdistan and the center, which is Baghdad, which will lead into, I believe, the hydrocarbon law being passed here in the short term. One of the key things to keep in mind too is that in the short term, it sounds like today, this afternoon, breaking news for me anyway, is that Halabusi, the president of the parliament, is going to be back on Saturday doing his thing, which is the 15th. Fascinating time frame, same kind of time frame around Alak, his 90 days. The next thing is that they haven't finished in the United States Congress. They'll be back on the 18th, or on the 17th, which is Monday. So our Congress and our House will be in session. And one of the things that they haven't done yet is finish the repeal of those two laws on the Iraq War. So having these guys show up now, and then prior to our Congress coming back on Monday, I have to say that the timing of it is phenomenal. Everybody should be really pretty pumped up and happy to see this go, because everything's looking really good. So hope you enjoy your day.